I'm Bergan from the GED U team here at ILEAD USA, and we are working on a study aid for GED students, driven from needs that we know from our own communities. We have some representatives from Harbor Community College and some from Indian Trails Public Library, who serves the same kind of area. And we have a lot of ESL students and a lot of students who are coming back trying to get into like Harbor College's regular programs. The person needing to get into the GED, of course. And with this population, we've noticed a lot of times they're missing the content, you know, the academic content, but they're also missing the digital skills. They are not used to sitting at a computer, interacting with a computer, clicking and dragging and all of those kind of interactions that are now part of the test, because the test has become digitized. So what we're going to kind of do is try and get both of those things at the same time. We want to get people learning the content. We also wanted to sneak in there those digital skills so that they can be a good, confident test taker when it comes time for them to actually just sit down and take the GED. So we've prepared some background information that we used to gather and decide what was important and how we were going to focus our project. So looking at what the content requirements were for the test, looking at the format of the test, looking at the digital literacy that's going to be necessary for the test. So kind of taking that knowledge, we also talked with our GED teaching team and talked about what they do in the classroom and some things that worked for them. And every time they said it was hands-on learning, always helped with the content. So we decided that we wanted our study aid to be like a manipulative, to be hands-on. So we did this prototype. So this has been done on PowerPoint. It's a mock-up that I did for our programmer, so that he could understand what the product we were going for, what that finished product we wanted to teach. It starts off with a lesson. It starts off with the basic parts of the atom and then moves into the periodic table. The idea being that these are two parts of the same thing. There are two ways of representing this smallest kind of matter, right? So it goes through the lesson and then does a little tutorial about our interactive game and walks them through step by step how that's going to work. Once they start the game, they have several options. If they can just go right in, and if they're successful, it'll move on to the next section. If they're not successful, it starts with giving them hints, and then it moves on to, if it's 2 wrong answers, they go back to part of the tutorial where they made a mistake. If they get 3 wrong, they're booted back to the lesson. So for this, I had to create trees about like where everything would go, so that the programmer would understand, which screens would be returned to. So after they finish this kind of where they're building an atom piece by piece, we have a second almost quiz section which shows an atom and has its protons listed and all of that, and they have to pick out which box on the periodic table is the correct one for that atom. So it kind of goes both ways as far as reading and interpreting the table, which we thought was a pretty important skill for the GED. So the idea is this is one module, one lesson that we would have available to them, and that's kind of our goal in the scope of this project. But most of what we spend our money on is the software. So hopefully from this point onward, we'd be able to create additional lessons that support the other science concepts that we know are still needed. We're hoping to have this rolled out and ready for testing by the beginning of fall semester in August, and so hopefully we'll have a product that's ready to share with everybody by the October ILEAD U session.